Mr. Sneh Pandya, who is the Senior Product Manager of Bling Labs.
And also a developer community leader at Google Developer Groups, Baroda. So I would like to request him to come on the stage to present the session about transitioning into product management. So let's give a few rounds of applause to him.
Over to you, Sneh.
Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you, everyone. Hello, Indore. Thank you for having me. And great. It's great to be back in Indore after 3 years. And the best thing I'm missing is, can you guess? Poha, yes. What else? Jalebi. I miss Sarafa, definitely. What else? Just a moment. Great. Better voice? Yes. Okay, so wherever I was, Sarafa. Right. How many of you are hungry? Okay, I'll make it quick. Nice. Who wants to join me at Sarafa? Oh, lovely. Now we are talking, right? Great. Let's get started. So, transitioning into product management. Okay, can we have a quick show of hands? Students who are learning, who are studying, who are students. Okay, nice. Working professionals. Okay, decent. Wonderful. Do you know what is product management? Have you heard the term? Yes. Okay, great. Uh, who would want to become a product manager? Who wants to become? Okay, great. Cool. Let's look into it. So I'm gonna talk about transitioning into product management and very practical insights from the world around us. Cool. This image is for reference. You'll get that in a bit. Let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Sneh Pandya. I'm a senior product manager. I'm co-organizer at GDG Baroda. I've written 2 books and trying to write the third one. I'm a podcast co-host and I do a bunch of other stuff. Travel, eat, of course. Yeah, and great. Okay. Cool. Uh, can you tell me what is in the image? Shout outs. Come on. School bus. What else? Okay. Yeah. What else? Friends, yes. Sorry? Okay. Conductor, no, there's no conductor in there. Probably that's a teacher, school teacher. Sorry? Poor management, okay. No, I mean, there does not need to be a management inside a school bus, right? Sorry? Okay. Uh, So I'll tell you what it is. This picture is one day before. It is taken coincidentally one day before the nationwide lockdown happened. And this is a picture from some random school in Madhya Pradesh only. But like I don't know the reference, but yeah, that's the context. Now, why I'm highlighting this picture? Can anyone guess? Any guesses? Transition, okay. Transition into what? Lifestyle. What else? Sorry? Uncertainty. What else? What else? Unemployed. Okay. They are there too. Okay. That was a good one. Yeah. What else? Yeah, you've been such a lovely audience. Wonderful. What else? Vaccination. Yeah, but that's yet to happen. I'm talking about this moment before the lockdown happened. Happiness. Sorry. Unable to predict future. Yeah, I mean uncertainty. Future. Yeah. Living in the moment. Okay, cool. I'll tell you what it is. So because this is a moment which they didn't know about what is yet to come, they are having those happy moments, right? Uncertainty, living in the moment, not caring about future, and so many things. But the most important thing I want to highlight here is, can you imagine the nationwide lockdown happening? What would be the consequences of it on these people? Like how many people are there randomly? 30, 40 people, right? Correct. Now, this is one bus of certain random school. Now, let's take this into context. Now, let's talk about this one bus. Now, there is this one school and all of the students, probably 10, 20, 30 buses. That's one school. Probably there are 10 to 20 different schools, institutions, organizations in educational field in that city, right? Probably 50,000 students in a city, isn't it? And then if you talk about a state, probably over a million students, right? So if you're talking on this level, the problem that happens with uncertainty, such as COVID lockdown, what happens to their education? What happens to their learning? I'm sure the best thing that comes to your mind is, okay, chuttiya, right? Isn't it? But what actually happens with them? They have no plan, they have an uncertainty, and they have a lot of problem for their future. Isn't it? Great. So let's talk about how to solve it. And we are going to talk about in a context of how product management helps you. And I'm not going to teach you how to do product management. I'm going to teach you, or I'm going to show you, not even teach you. I'm just going to show you how to think as a product manager. And it's going to be real fun. Just that you have to be interactive. Okay. So, first question, what are the products that you love? You can just shout out. Google, okay. Reddit, Discord, Adobe, Microsoft, yeah, Slack, Apple. Why do you love it? Interactive. They make your life simpler, right? You can use something, you can use a service or a product or an app or a software, and it makes your life simpler. It helps you connect with people. It does something for you, isn't it? You can automate it. You can play games, whatever it is, right? Now, next thing, what are the products that you absolutely hate? Reels, okay? Someone said Reels. IRCTC, okay. By the way, that has improved a lot. What else? Telegram, new Reddit, okay. TikTok, yeah. Twitter, interesting. LinkedIn, yes, I agree. Facebook, absolutely. Why do you hate it? Why do you hate it so much? Okay, yeah, good one. But like, why do you hate using those apps, those products, those softwares? Okay, next, not user friendly, slow, server issues, privacy issues. What else? So there are like two distinctive behaviors of Every one of us, right? You love something, you don't love something, and you have your reasons for that, right? Now, that's the whole crux of it. The most important thing about any product, any service, anything, that is, how does a product become successful? And you answered it. If you realize, you just answered it. If you love something, you're going to continue using it. If you hate something, you're going to boycott it, right? And there are opinions, there are wide opinions, there are personal opinions, but whatever it is. So when does a product become successful? Little louder. Okay. Solves a problem. What else? Okay. Okay. Huh? Right. Reliable. Nice. So you have so many reasons to make a product successful, right? Isn't it? But what is the most important, single most important thing that makes a product successful? UI, marketing, user experience. Yeah. Yeah, okay. You're close. Okay. Yeah. Ah, interesting. Consumer feedback. Nice. This is getting interesting. Sorry. Learning curve is less. Who else said it? Marketing. Yeah. Product design. Ah, I have so many answers. Nice. Like this is an amazing audience. I don't need to teach them anything. Cool. So users are at the core of product management, and that is just what you've answered, isn't it? Agree? Because everything that you do, every feature that you develop, every operational system, every server, every app, every user experience, every marketing approach, everything connects back to who? User. User means who? That is you, we humans, isn't it? If humans are not gonna use it, I don't believe we are at the era where animals are still using it, isn't it? So, user are at the core of product management. And why it is so important? Because if you have users who are convinced by your services, by your product offerings, or by anything that you do, they are going to come back to you and ask for more, and they are going to stick to you, right? So, the whole crux of it is, let's see, product management of a million users. Let's think we are nearly like 800 people here, right? If I develop something today and if I give it to you, you're gonna love something, you're gonna hate something, or you're gonna just use it casually because you don't have an alternative, right? But if you think that I want to do something for a million users or a billion users, right? So what's gonna happen? The game is completely different, isn't it? So when you think about a million users, you need to take care of a lot of factors, lot of scenarios. Which country, what geography, what gender, what age, what are the preferences, whether they like a topping on a pizza or not, So many interesting, what colors, one, I think thousands of iterations, isn't it? So how do you make sense of it? Whether something's gonna work out for you or not? Any answers for that? How do you gauge whether something will be successful or not? Okay, interesting. Yeah. Who else? Whether it is needed or not. But how do you identify that? Okay. Who else? Market. But what if I'm developing something for a completely new market? Developing a market. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Nice. And what would be a product management for a million users? Because what you just said are the techniques to identify whether a user group, whether a geography, whether what you're thinking is correct or not, right? That's the first part you need to take care of. But what would be the next thing? You've identified your users, you've identified who's gonna pay you, who's gonna be your paid subscribers or viewers or whoever it is, and then you still need a product, right, to cater to them. And any user who is using a service, a product, an app, a website, or anything will get bored of your product after a certain time. Isn't it? Correct? So you need to do one thing, and that is innovation. You constantly need to innovate. Correct? Because if you don't innovate, you're not going to put out new features or new elements or new user experience or new marketing games or new discounts, anything of that sort in your app or product or service, website, anything. Correct? So, how to do product management for a million users? Because some user will come to me and say, hey, I want this. Some other user will come to me and counter it and say, I don't want it. So how do you decide what you do with it? There's a lot of data. Even if a million users are opening my app once a day, I have 1 million people visiting my app, right? I have a 1 million opinions. Isn't that huge, right? So how do you deal with it? Any guesses? No? The first thing you need is building your first million users and retain them. And you need to identify how to do it. You need to identify your audience first, just as you said, by different tactics, by understanding different geographies, by market research, many different things. And those are the technical aspects of it. I'm not going to go into it, but this is more about how to think. And once you do that, once you are ready with your data, you still need to cater to your audience. You still need to send updates and solid updates to your users who are going to love it, right? Something like any product, Slack, Discord, all those kind of things. People love those communities just like us, right? Why? Because they constantly give something new. And that is how they retain their users. People want more, people keep coming back for more. Doesn't Instagram do the same? It keeps you so engaged into reels, into anything that you keep watching. If you're watching more videos, they'll send you more videos. If you're watching more live, they'll send you notifications on live, isn't it? So, the most important thing to build your audience, to build your product, to build your product management, anything that you say, boils down to this first step. This is not the only step, but this is the first step, and that is building your habits. So, the iteration of the questions that we previously did, on the basis of that, I'm going to show you how to build your habits around product management. Like, you know, imagine if you can start thinking into a product management perspective right from here, right today, right now, right? And second is once you build your habits, you start thinking it. And the next thing that you need to do is you need to start developing your psychology for your users. The way that any marketplace platform sends you updates that, hey, you checked out new shoes, here's few recommendations for you. If you are checking flight rates, here's 20% discount for you, and so many other things, right? You're going to click those links because you love it or because you want it. So that is how you need to build habits of your users, and you need to start thinking around it. And when you do that, there are so many tactics, there are so many marketing approaches, there are so many user experience approaches, there are so many human behavior approaches that you need to take care of. And they're very simple and very easy. So we'll get into it very quickly. So building frameworks and strategies around this whole ecosystem is what I'm going to show you. That is called cultivating product thinking. Now, what we are talking about is particularly how to think in the product sense. If you are a product manager, you need to think about your users, you need to think about your organization, you need to think about your finances, your marketing, your user experience, your technology, your product, bunch of other things, right? So, how do you decide what is the priority, or how do you decide what strategy or what framework are you going to use? Correct? It's very complex. Now, these are the questions which I'm going to show you. If you follow these questions and these strategies, you will start finding answers. And I would repeat, you won't find complete answers, but you will start finding answers because it makes you think, and it makes you think on the right lines. So, what is the problem at hand, or what problem are we solving? Is the first question. If you ask yourself, if you ask a user that you are catering to. If you are solving your own problem, then you ask it to yourself. If you are solving it for someone else, you'll go ask them, like, what's the problem, right? What's the problem are we solving, or why are we solving it? That's the first question. Second is, what are the goals? Or why are we picking this problem? There has to be a reason, right? Because there are going to be so many ideas out there in the world which you think are good ideas, are great ideas. I recommend them absolutely don't build them because those ideas are your supercharged mind thoughts. They suddenly come up. After a month, you'll not feel passionate enough to chase them or follow them. And that's why you need to answer the question. If you have a passion or if you have a reason to solve a problem, you're going to stick to it. And this does not only apply to product management, this applies to your life as well. So this is larger than life, or this is larger than the whole sphere. And I'm practically using this techniques to improve my life, and it has helped a lot. So now answering those questions boils down to these things. You need to have a problem that you're solving, and then you need to have an audience that you just answered that you need to focus on. So an audience has a problem and you're focusing on that, right? That's the first stage of it. Now, your product or your problem or your idea needs to be validated or needs to have a proper strategy. Once you have a proper strategy, you can focus on how to build it, because there are so many things, or there are more than one pathways to build something, isn't it? Correct? So okay, that works. See, this is what happens, you have to improvise. Cool. So once you have a strategy in place, you know what is your audience, you know who you're solving it for, and you know why you're solving it. If you have a valid problem and if you have a valid audience that you're solving it for, believe me, you're gonna be richer than Elon Musk in near future, probably a decade or two more. Cool. So coming back to the problem, there are problems around us in real life, just like the one that I showed. And then you need an audience for that. We have an audience in our picture that I just showed you. Now, how are we going to solve the problem for them is what we have to think. Once you have the approaches or once you have the solutions for your product or for our audience, you're gonna convert them into features like, hey, you're facing an issue with your commute. Let me build a navigation or maps app. If you want to connect with someone, let me build your social media app. If you want to send someone important updates, let me build a email reader or something like that, isn't it? So once that is done, there's the golden line that I use to solve problems or find whether this is really gonna work or not. And this is something I've cultivated from my own mentors. So it says we are solving this problem by faced by these kind of people, and by this method, and we will create this impact, or we'll solve this problem in this manner. If your problem, if the problem that you are solving, if the audience that you are focusing on is fitting into this one sentence or one liner, then only it is gonna be sure that you have a perfect market fit. This is a very simpler way of validating your audience that you see, right? And this is just to begin with, but you will start realizing, and you have to question yourself whether your problem, your audience, your solutions, your features, your apps fall into this framework. Once you have this framework, you will start canceling out other non important things. And when you do that, you will start really focusing on what is important, not to you, to your users. And that's the first step to crack. Because if you crack that game of managing your users, your product management journey is halfway there. You're already halfway done, because it's so important to focus on your users. And my whole story is around the same. So, most importantly, these questions, these frameworks are gonna teach you, or are gonna just show you, or they're just gonna put a thought in your mind how to start thinking. And that's not the complete game. The complete game has to be a diverse game. It has to include how to think as a human from a very different perspective, how to think in analytics terms, how to make sense with practical lives, how to relate to someone who is coming out from completely different background, and bunch of other things. So how do you do that? There are a few books I'm going to recommend you. If you can take a screenshot of this, okay. I'll see if this could be gone. But you can take a picture of this and you can start exploring these books to begin with. And that will help you understand how to think for your users. These books don't necessarily teach you how to do product management, but these books definitely teach you how to think as a human way better than what we think today. And once you start doing that, you'll start making sense for all other people around you who cannot think like you. And that is your A game as a product manager. You can think on behalf of 1 million people. That is the core of product management, right? So, done? Everyone has clicked the picture? Cool. Yeah. So, this is the line that I advocate for, you can say. Focus on delivering value and helping people, because everything else will follow. Why? Is because, again, I'll relate it back to humans, I'll relate it back to your users and the people that you're catering for. If you solve their problem, if you solve, if you help them overcome an obstacle, if you give them something to play with, if you give them something really meaningful, they're gonna come back to you. And that is what you have to start thinking. So, with this, can you now come back with that context of where we started and what this picture says? Sorry? Okay. Sorry? Digital India, yeah. Mask. What else? What is the atmosphere? Online education, homeschooling, transitioning, education for girls. What else? Yeah. Okay. Interesting. transition has happened now. So this is an actual picture from a random school somewhere in India. And what they have done is they have overcome their obstacles, they have overcome their scenarios, they have overcome their uncertainty. Now, how? There are multiple ways they have done it, not just one. They've introduced e learning, as you mentioned, they've introduced collaborative learning, they have started learning online, there are new ways, there are masks, new e mandates, and whatnot. But the most important thing is it's not these users who have done it, it's someone else who has done this. So there are a lot of NGOs, governmental bodies, and private institutions, and so many people have gathered across the country to solve this problem. Because I according to my knowledge, there are billions of students learning every year in India. And imagine billions of students stop educating themselves for a year or two. Their future would stop. Isn't that a huge deal for the country? So, here, what has been achieved is not only vaccination, is not only e learning. Here, a transformational journey is still ongoing, where a lot of people practically in their lives have improvised, have come with solutions which matter to these kind of audiences. Now, there were situations in remote areas where there was no internet as well. There were no devices, or there were families who could not afford these digital devices, right? So a lot of bodies came together and provided these resources and helped them overcome these challenges. So when you help them overcome these challenges, what happens is you solve a problem for them and they keep growing. The best case that you see here is this is a very simple picture, but the impact that you create with these kind of actions are beyond your imagination, right? So, yeah. And okay, so there's a bonus announcement with this. Cool. Excited? I'm excited. Cool. Ready? Ready? Okay, great. So I have a new book which I recently wrote, and I just published it last week, and you can get it 50% off. And this is the book which is going to showcase if you want to solve problems strategically, or if you want to solve problems and automate things with DevOps. This is the book which is going to help you not only get these perspectives which I talked about, but also how to automate them and how to actually implement them in code. So you can scan the code, click a picture, and grab it 50% off. And this offer is only for a couple of weeks. Okay. Done? Great. So yeah, with this, thanks a lot. If you have any questions, if you have any queries, you can reach out to me. Thank you. Thank you.
So much. Thank you so much, Sneh, for this impactful performance. And I would request you to please accept the memento. Please.
Before proceeding with the memento, can you have any questions? Like, do you have anything? Any questions? Yes.
Yes.
I see two raise of hands there.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Go ahead.
When we are launching a product in the market, फ्यूचर प्लानिंग कितनी इम्पोर्टेंट है यूजर के करंट इंटरेस्ट को देखते हुए?
So जब आपके पास यूजर का डेटा आता है, सपोज यू आर स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम स्क्रैच और आपको पता नहीं है कि आपका मार्केट क्या है, यूजर कौन है, फर्स्ट स्टेप इज टू आइडेंटिफाई कि यूजर को वो सच में चाहिए या नहीं जो आप सोच रहे हो, राइट? द सेकेंड स्टेप इज वंस यू हैव आइडेंटिफाइड कि okay, you know, these these many people want it, thousands of people, millions of people want it, then you start understanding कि उनको सबसे पहले क्या चाहिए. What is the most important element that you want to offer them to get onboarded in your product, right? But once you start doing that, you realize that okay, there may be more than one things that they would require. So then you strategize and you plan. So there are strategies and frameworks. So for that, what you can do is you can think about product strategies. There are a lot of online resources, but if you really want to expand on this, there are institutions which specifically teach you. There is Indian Business School and stuff like that, who has these cohort courses which practically teach you how to strategize for these kind of situations or these kind of products, and you can either learn from them, or you can also refer to the case studies done by these people who have done it, and small scale, large scale, and bunch of other things. And then you can understand what kind of audiences need what, because once you have a user base or an audience with your first MVP or with your very basic requirement that they are using, then you can start collecting the data from them, the analytics, the impressions, the behavior, and many more things, right? So that will tell you what you want to do or what you need to do, because their behavior will tell you what they're doing. But what you still need to understand is what do you want to give them next, and that is what you have to prioritize. So for that, once the data comes in, you have to segregate it, and you have to still focus on how to strategize those elements and prioritize. Once you give them priority, that okay, very first, probably in the next month, I'm going to give you this, after that this, after that this, and even more openly if possible, when you tell your users that hey, next month we are releasing this as a release or an update, that builds an amazing trust for your users that okay, I know what is coming from you as a user, and they start putting faith in you and they see amazing updates from you, and that's the way to begin, and then you can expand it to more users.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Mic. We'll need a mic there.
So
Yeah.
how do you develop your product roadmap, like strategic visions?
So first things first, what you have to do is we have to identify what kind of features or what kind of inclusions you want to give to your users. Once that is done, you strategize in a way that what are the most crucial ones. Are there any backlogs? Are there any important features that are left out that goes on priority one? Absolutely necessary. What needs to be fixed? Because if you are pushing something without being fixed, if there are existing features which are not working properly and you're constantly pushing it, people will stop using it. So your priority one should always be okay, what is something that people want, what is not working or what needs to be improved. Then once you have mastered it, the first thing that will come out is okay, look out for the behavior in your audience, and not just your category or your domain that you're serving, but look out for the market. What do people want today? And India is a very diverse country in terms of likings, dislikings, very emotional stuff, right? And for that matter, once you observe different resources, different social medias, you start getting an understanding of what the audience wants, where is it heading, where it would fit. You make a list of it, and then you analyze where my product fits here, what my product can offer, because you are not serving your customers to achieve everything that people are doing. You are serving it for one specific use case, or you are solving one specific problem, and it has to be tangential to it. So whatever the market is doing and what is tangential to your product, that should be your priority too. And then where you think, okay, I've identified something also from the market, or I've heard my users. That's why user interviews are so important. So you should do user interviews also, apart from the analytics gathering and all that stuff. Users will actually tell you, hey, I want this, or I need this, or this didn't work. And then you'll understand, maybe I can gamify this, or maybe I can improve my user experience in some other way, some animations or stuff like that, and then provide it to them in a much richer experience. That is your priority three. So in this way, Your buckets would be prioritized in 3 different buckets, and then your features would be developed with those priorities. Once you push those features that way, this is your roadmap. You can, this is still like an overview, but you can still do it this way, and your users will definitely love it. We personally use it in our organization that way. Yeah. Yes.
Uh,
Yeah. Who else? Yeah. Just a moment. Yes.
uh, Actually, I had a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Aviral,
Yeah.
and currently I'm a third year undergrad pursuing BTech from Medicaps University Indore. So my question was, what is the roadmap to becoming a successful product manager? I mean, as a beginner and as a third year undergrad, what's the roadmap to becoming a successful product manager?
I believe you have learned a couple of languages.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, okay, let me ask you this. In how many languages do you know how to write Hello World program,
Okay. C, C++, Java, and Python.
right? So, the problem that you had is to print Hello World. That's your problem. How you approach it is your language. Now it's up to you how you solve a problem, right? If you're focusing on your problem, you will start making sense with, okay, जावास्क्रिप्ट में ऐसे लिखा जाता है, जावा में ऐसा लिखा जाता है, सी में ऐसा लिखा जाता है, सी प्लस प्लस में ऐसे लिखा जाता है, right? So then only the syntaxes change, and what you focus more on is, okay, what's the problem I need to solve and what are the ways to do it. Once you have all the ways listed down, you can pick the best one based on, okay, what is the kind of effort I need, what is the complexity, what are the trade-offs and stuff. So once you finalize, okay, I want to do this approach or I want to do that approach, then you move forward and think, this is how I'm going to develop. Now, this is the technology or the product part of it. How you build a product. When you want to become a successful product manager, you need to cultivate a human psychological behavior. You need to understand how humans think. And that's what I've emphasized more on, and not many of the technicalities, because technicalities probably every other course on LinkedIn, Coursera, Udemy will teach you. They'll teach you how to think or how to build roadmaps or how to build KPIs and all that stuff. But how to think is what you have to cultivate. And that is why you need to read books, you need to observe people, and you need to do a bunch of other things. So once you do that, you'll start developing an understanding of, okay, will my user like this? Will my user not like this? Should I give it this way? What is a serious problem? What is a negligible problem? Do I need to have a happy tone here? Those kind of things, right? Once you do that, you gather that knowledge, you combine it with your problem. And the third factor is, what is the surprise element that you give to your users, which they are not expecting? Because there are a few things that your users expect. They want this to solve a problem. But the third thing is, there are still going to be a few things which they absolutely don't expect or anticipate. And when you identify that, that is what is going to surprise them. Like, I'm sure you are an Instagram user, right? You never imagined the reels were coming. Now you're addicted to it, isn't it? So that is the surprise element. So when you combine all these factors, what you push out is an excellence. And what you have to do is, so here are a few things that I do, and then you can identify what you want to do. I read case studies from, successful brands, successful corporations, products, and stuff like that. I read books, and a lot of books, good books like these. I talk to a lot of people also outside of my domain, because that helps me build perspective, how they think. Because I'm thinking, and my thinking is absolutely limited. If someone from a banking sector can come and tell me, hey, this is how it works, if someone from a non-technical background can come and tell me, hey, this is how it works, I'm gonna listen to those perspectives, and that's probably the most important thing I would highlight. After that, of course, build psychology around it. Watch other mock interviews of product managers. That is also a very great thing to do. And test a lot of apps, a lot of them. just install, play around for a week or two, not just a day or two, week or two. That's when you get very comfortable roaming around. And that's when you'll start identifying, okay, I like this feature, but I don't like how this navigates, but I still like this feature. So note that down. When you have this, start publishing and start writing about it. When you write, your mind starts thinking and starts developing. And that's the way to become a better product manager. Because product management is not one step solution. It's like ek baar kar liya ho gaya. No, it's an always learning process. So cultivate that emotion or that thinking or that habit कि मेरे को हर रोज कुछ नया सीखना. Enjoy it, and that's how you're gonna be the great one.
Okay, also I wanted to ask that what if I'm not pretty sure about what to do after my fourth year? I mean, should I go with like studying abroad, or maybe should I opt for any of the job opportunities that are in India? What should I do? I mean,
So that's like a very broad question. I'll take it personally with you, okay, offline. Does that work? Yeah,
okay.
sure. I'll surely connect with you.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Abhishek, and my question is how to find the right target audience for my product and how to give them the best user experience possible.
Okay. I think I am out of time, so we'll take it offline. Does that work?
Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Sneh. Please accept the memento.
Yeah. Thank you.